Hello, everyone. This is Rick, and welcome to Astral Club. This is Soulmates. Before we get into it, just want to mention Patreon. If you'd like to support the work of Astral Club, spreading the information and the ability to astral project, you can certainly do so by going to the description and clicking on the link. Next up, astral projection lessons. If you'd like a lesson to learn how to astral project or to improve your ability, just go to the description and send me a request for information, and we'll go from there. Playlists. Want to mention that. If there's certain types of episodes that you like more than others, you can find them on the playlist. I've got Space and Alien, Time Travel, Questions and Answers, Astral Guide School, and of course, Astral Club, listing all the episodes in order. If that's of interest, just go looking for those playlists. Okay, let's get started. Soulmates. This is, I think, a popular conception. And I think there is some truth in it, but I'd like to just discuss it from my experiential standpoint and what I've been able to learn in my travels on the astral plane. When people talk about soulmates, certainly when I've heard people talk about it in the past, it generally connotes that there's one person out there somewhere who is an exact match to the jagged edge of this piece that's been broken in half. And if those two jagged edges could be brought together, there would be this perfect synthesis of being that you would unite this broken greater being into the actuality of what exists throughout the universe, and you would then be able to use all of your abilities, and everything would be great. I think that's a somewhat simplistic way to look at it, because you're assuming there that there's only one person that could possibly fill that role running around here in our daily lives. It's curious. I mentioned that I have heard people talk about it in the past, and it's interesting because many of the people who have mentioned that to me in the past broke up or got divorces a year or two later, which tends to cast some doubt on the whole assumption there. If this is your other half that's supposed to complete you in the greatest way possible, how is it that it only lasted 6 months or a year? There seems to be some sort of disconnection there, something that doesn't quite make sense. So I'd like to discuss the astral, especially as it is involved with reincarnation. Now, I've had quite a bit of experience dealing with souls who are in the reincarnation process, who are preparing for that process, because I was exposed to it during Astral Guide School and my other personal experiences on the astral plane. And what happens is through a evaluation, a self-evaluation, the soul, usually with the assistance of their astral guide, sometimes called an angel, figures out where they are in the evolutionary chart. What lessons have they learned? Where are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What do they need to work on? And based on this analysis, they come up with goals for the next life. They come up with their various life purposes. It's usually not just one, it's usually a number of different things. Some of them are extraordinarily noble, some are very plain. Your noble orientation might be to assist others in some activity or other that you're an expert at. Less than noble might be learning how to support yourself in the physical plane and to understand the principles of basic abundance. So it does vary quite a bit. When we are in the physical, many times we find ourselves looking for a complementary soul, someone who can help us and help foster our search for these abilities that we inherently lack or that we're weak on. Now, from what I have seen, there's a number of people normally who you can establish a beneficial relationship with here in the physical. I've never seen a situation where there literally was only one person that this person had to locate in order to achieve this soulmate type of situation. And I just like to deal with that very much term, because the term itself is misleading. When you say soul mate, you're saying basically like there's one other person out there, and there really isn't. There can be numerous other individuals who can fulfill those requirements with you, who can co-evolve with you. And let's not forget, it is a co-evolution. This isn't a situation where you're just looking for someone who can help you and we forget about the other end of the equation. Yeah, it has to be a co-evolutionary process in order for it to work. In my particular case, and I've discussed this before, I've discussed some of my pre-life memories. I didn't have to return this time. I chose to return because I wanted to be of assistance first to the people in my family. And then as I got older, I wanted to be able to assist others in a variety of spiritual disciplines. And astral projection is the one which, of course, has gotten the most attention. So that's what I'm here to accomplish. I found my wife and found that she was extremely suitable to co-evolve with, because she was highly intelligent, creative, and very supportive. And we've been married now for 34 years, so I have to believe we've succeeded reasonably well in the process. Sure, we still have further to go. The evolutionary process, it never stops. It's always ongoing. We're always learning more lessons together, and we grow together. I think it's important for people to realize that if they're out there looking for a mate, or if they're just living their life and they encounter these situations, you should temper your emotional states when you meet someone. Don't go all in right away. Don't try to put too much on that other person. Keep in mind that they have their own growth and evolution to accomplish. They're not a means to an end for you. They're an end in and of themselves. And if things go well, then you can work towards your mutual goals together and help to achieve the eventual goal of progressing to the next level. There's also another connotation with soulmate. And, I wish I was more of a romantic so that I could put a little bit of a more romantic spin on this whole situation. And I think part of this whole eternal situation comes from, I think, Christianity and certain religions of that nature. That you die and then you spend the rest of eternity, ideally, if you don't go to the hot place, you spend the rest of eternity then with this person. The problem with that is, in Christianity, the idea was that when you pass on, you're done. Once and done, and you've now accomplished whatever it is you're going to accomplish. And so now you spend the rest of eternity with this other person doing I know not what. The situation is that you are constantly evolving here on the physical, and that continues in the astral. Now, will there be times when the person that you were married to in the physical continues to associate with you in either successive lives or further evolution on the astral and other planes? Absolutely, that absolutely can happen. But I haven't seen in the astral, and certainly in the mental or something like that, I haven't seen really any cases, and I might be missing some, I probably am. I haven't seen any cases where these two souls literally cleave together for all of eternity, because many times there's other challenges that they're faced with. There are other goals that they wish to accomplish, and perhaps these goals were aligned in the physical, but they may not necessarily continue to be aligned in the astral. Now, is this a case of, wow, now I'm going to be sad or I'm going to be depressed because this person who I really love a lot isn't going to, stick with me throughout all eternity? I don't think so. I think the healthiest way to look at these types of things is the person that you love isn't going anywhere. You're always connected. Anyone who you love, you are always connected to. Consider there's like a little filament or a little thread that is connecting you to and anyone else who you love throughout all eternity. So they're never lost. It's just that perhaps your goals that you're now working on in the astral wouldn't be necessarily aligned with his or hers. And that's fine. Because the worst thing you can do in the physical, or indeed in the astral, is to try to cleave so hard to another person that you end up strangling them and impeding their onward progress in some selfish attempt to keep them close to you. What's that old saying? If you truly love something, let it go. That kind of thing. And if it's right, it'll come back at the right time. I think that's a lot closer to a truthful type statement. So that's my 50 cents on the whole soulmate situation. I look upon it as an extremely positive way to look at it, a universal way to look at it, a very open, an evolutionary way to look at the soulmate situation. If you liked or benefited from that, please hit the like button, share it with those of like minds, subscribe if you haven't already, and comments and questions. I'm sure you've got some of your own viewpoints, and I'm certainly open to all of them. I don't claim to be the last word on this or any subject, so please share your thoughts with me and everybody else of Astral Club. This is Rick, and as always, I will see you on the astral plane.